What's going on, everybody? It is your guy Tyler here with Mom's Basement MMA, and I'm running it back with the champ. He's been on my show before, and he is kind enough to join us again. We are talking to former UFC heavyweight and current Fury FC heavyweight champion, Mr. Juan the Kraken Adams. Juan, you look great today, and I like the N64 retro shirt, man. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Dude, we're getting up there. I'm gonna include you. I know you. I'm older than you, but you're right on the cusp of 30, and these young cats. They look at that shirt, and we might need to educate people pretty soon on what that even means. You know,
Definitely.
let's talk about poor people because there's this poor guy that has to fight you on November 21st at Fury FC 54 in front of your hometown in Houston. And I got to ask you, how are you doing, man? Like, I know you've been posting some pictures and stuff lately, and anytime I see Juan with abs, man, I get a little frightened. And you're looking really good. I know our weight cut's about to hit here pretty soon. Just how's your camp been and preparing for this tough, scary dude that you got to fight?
It's been really good. I was actually I had to work a lot this camp, so I didn't really get to go to the normal class training. It's been mostly privates with Greg and Wayne, which isn't bad. And I've been doing a lot of sparring with pro boxers just to make sure my timing is still there when I'm in town. But the weights, I woke up this morning around 290, so hoping to lose another 5. So fight week, it's only a 20-pound cut. I like to do my cuts from 285 the Monday of the fight. So I'm feeling pretty good about it, man. I feel great. I'm really excited about this fight. I've got my hydrostatic composition testing Monday morning, so we'll see where the body fat and all that is at, and go from there. But I just feel really good about the cut, really good about the fight. It's one of those times where I haven't been stressed about the fight at any point during the camp. I haven't worried about my opponent at all.
Dude, that's fantastic. And I kind of want to. The last time I talked to you, it was like 6 months ago, and there's a lot that's gone on with you since the last time I spoke with you. You fought twice, you've won. Fury has been lining up some tough cats you've had to fight, and I'm surprised that they were able to find some of these guys. Here you are, you're fighting Austin Lane in a few weeks, another tough, scary dude. I will say this: this is without question the hardest guy Fury has put in front of you. This is going to be a big test. It's in Houston. It's in your hometown. You're defending your title. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Like Austin Lane, for people who don't know, he was on the Contender Series. He has a winning record. He's a big, tough, scary dude. He knocks people out. He's a striker predominantly. We know you won. We know that your wrestling is outstanding. We got a big, tough, scary guy coming in. And is it just one of those simple bouts, like it's a wrestler versus a striker? Or, without giving anything away, how do you prepare for a guy that his game plan is probably going to be pretty cut and dry? He's going to come for your head in the first minute or two. I know you fought guys like that before, but what's your thought process when you're fighting against a really dangerous striker like this guy?
My thing with him is he's a lot smaller than me. He's fought at 205 before. He's made that weight. I did a body composition last weekend, and with 0% body fat, I would weigh 242. So there's no way I could ever make 205. I'm the bigger, stronger man. I think my striking is better than his anyway. So I look at cleanliness, and that he does present a challenge in that he's more athletic than any of the recent guys I fought. But in terms of ability, I just don't see him on my level at all. So that's just where we're at. We prepare it the same way we do everyone else. I told my coaches, and they've told me, our game plan's the same for him as it was against the last guy, as it was against the guy before that. Striking heavy guys. Then from there, you bring them into your own world, and that's been the thing. It's not so much worrying about other people's game plans as much as imposing my own and adjusting it to maximize my own abilities.
We're looking at a different Kraken right now. Something has happened with you. like you don't look like the same guy that you were from the UFC days, and I mean that in a good way. Like you seem a lot more calm. You see a lot more composed. And in the last time we spoke, you talked about like, well, these were some of the things that were going on in my personal life, and that's kind of the reason why I was probably a little tentative. You get out of that, you relocate, you go to Jackson Wink, and you just your skills in general, just all across the board. Your cardio is a lot better, your footwork's a lot better. Like you're not immediately going to go and shoot on a guy. Like I could tell, and just watching your tape, how you've evolved. And is there one thing that when you look back at those UFC fights, you're like, man, I would starch Tafa. Like there's no way that guy could beat me right now. Like I'm looking at some of these guys that you've fought, and I'm just like, there's no way like those guys would are even in the same league as you.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's one of those things where even with what's his name, Arjun Bueller, he's the one champion now. Like, and I looked at the papers, and even at that point, I felt I won that fight.
Right.
The numbers showed it, and it's just one of those things where I can't dwell on it too much. That's playing that what if game, and you can send yourself down a wormhole. I just know that if the opportunity comes now, like I'm a completely different fighter. I'm so much more confident in my abilities. When I was in the UFC, I was trying so hard to be a striker or a counter striker or a wrestle boxer and all this. And now I just go out and I do what I see openings, and I don't go into each fight with a set like style of how I'm going to fight.
And I think that's a byproduct of just you maturing as a fighter and as a man, and then your coaching. That there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. Like it's not just a switch you can flip. It takes a long time to like hone in on these skills. There's like a part of your story that I think is so interesting, and I don't think people know. I know because you and I know you fairly well by now. You're all in on this. Like the sacrifices that you're going through and what you're doing in order to compete. I don't think a whole lot of people around the country really know that. You're working full time. I know that you're not in Albuquerque as much because of your work situation. You're probably putting a lot of miles on the road, and it's difficult to not eat like shit when you're on the road and stuff all the time. How are you managing your weight? How are you keeping everything together while you're working full time, and like training in and of itself is also a full time job? So you got like basically two full time jobs.
Right. So what I do is all my coaches send me stuff. And there's certain things you can work on all the time on your own, just from wrestling D1 and knowing enough about footwork and striking and all that. But my strength and conditioning coach gives me a schedule. I went and I paid for a membership at 2 gyms down there because one of them didn't have all the equipment I needed. And I was doing those workouts every morning. And so I'd wake up at 5 a.m. I would get to work. Usually I'd have to get to work early or work a double. And the double started at 7 a.m. So I was getting a lot of overtime, which was awesome. So
Heck yeah.
But what I did, I would wake up at 5. I would go work out. I had my meal preps. Every week when I would drive into Albuquerque, I'm sponsored by a meal prep guy. So I would go pick those up on Sunday, put them in the car with me, drive back. Because I would work Friday night, then I would hit the road Friday after my shift was over. My shift was over at 11 p.m. And then I would start driving. And it's a 7-hour drive from where I was working to the gym. So I would drive. I would pass out for about 3 hours on the road, and then wake up, finish the rest of the drive, and then from there I would get to the gym, take a quick nap, do everything I needed to do, get some work in with one of my pro boxing buddies and the coaches whenever they could, and then we would just go from there. And that was kind of the schedule. And at work they cooked for us, so I wouldn't eat that food. I would have to, eat on my own food. The hardest part was not eating that in addition to what I had brought, but we got through it, and that was it, man. I knew where my weight needed to be. at the end of every week. So I knew this weekend I needed to be 295 at the heaviest.
You got things going on, Juan, and like, is this the type of opponent that you need to check off? Like, is this what you need to do to get back to where you want to be? Like, you're putting together a streak now. You're fighting tough guys. Is a title defense what you think is what it's going to take for you to get that short notice call?
I would hope so. At the end of the day, it's really not up to me. I text Nick. I'm like, yo, whoever you want me to fight, I will. I don't really care at this point. If you're not going to sign me back to the UFC, I'll fight every month if I have to. I don't really care because I'm not taking any damage in these fights, and I'm not really overly concerned about any opponent they put in front of me. For this fight, 50 guys turned the fight down before Austin Lang accepted it. So,
and that's why I wanted to ask you, like, given that being a circumstance, you've talked about how difficult it is to get matched up. Is it kind of one of those things where it's like, hey man, like, I'm kind of like hitting my shelf life here because not because the promotion's not doing anything right. I'm not suggesting that, but it's just like at the level that you are and the risk that you pose, putting on a good show, it's like it's tough for them to find a body for you.
And that is the risk. Like nobody, again, Raheem Cleveland turned down the opportunity to fight me 3 times, and then he goes and signs with Bellator to fight an undefeated guy. Like,
yeah, Tall Steve hooked him up last night. I guess that's what he gets for his trouble. But with all due respect to him, it's like Russian roulette. If those are the two choices, you or Tall Steve. The comments section is a dangerous place to be, man. And every time you post something, people have stuff to say. And every single time I read the comments and the stuff that you post, inevitably, people talk about some of the more high-profile people that are at Jackson Wink. And, not to be your attorney or anything like that, but that would, annoy the shit out of me after a while. And I would really, despise that type of question. So you can plead the fifth one. You don't have to say nothing, but that would irritate me. But I wanted to ask you about Jackson Wink in general. It's a big gym. There's all kinds of talent that are there. I've had the privilege of having Lidel Pogue on my show. He's a guy that is a young dude. He's got a bright future. But there are other people, too, at Jackson Wink. Kayla Yontif, she made her Invicta debut not that long ago. There's T.O. Jackson. Can you talk a little bit about those 3 and just kind of what you've been able to see from them and just the Jackson Wink up-and-comers that are like them?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually there when Lidel first got there. We're managed by the same guy. And I just remember thinking, why? This guy is so spastic. And he was clearly athletic, but he was so, spazzy when he was moving. And it was crazy. It was just – but as he was there every day and started working, you could slowly start seeing things be put together. And I think in a year and a half, Lidel, put in the amount of work or the amount of growth that you would see in about 4 or 5 years from a gym somewhere else, and that just speaks volumes for his dedication to growth there and his seriousness about the sport. He's a true student, so when he's in class, he's paying attention. He's trying his hardest to learn everything. That plays a really big role, and obviously the ability of everyone around him. You can't help but to get better here. So, his pro debut was pretty dominant, and I think he's set to go again pretty soon here.
Yep, so, next week.
Yeah, so, he's growing at a really fantastic rate. Kayla's been there longer than me, so she's picked up everything there, but she's another one, doing extra work all the time. She's always in class. She's always paying attention, always asking questions, just always talking about fighting and trying to learn and really being a student there. So that, again, she's in really close with a lot of the coaches here as well. So that's a really big thing is there's so many people here that have the ability not only to fight but to also coach. And, if you build a good group of friends here that's got a person from every style, it's pretty much like having another set of coaches with you, which is really dope. And then again, TL Jackson, he's one of my best friends here. He's like my little brother. Um, but when I first got here, he used to just be this dude that was in the amateur class all the time, and like didn't really do a whole lot. But since I've known him, he's in class almost every day now. He's working all the time. He's working with Coach Wink a lot. Coach Wink has him doing some of the technique videos in their advanced or dynamic striking videos and all that. So just to see the growth of people like that and the up and coming talent really kind of finding their own here, because when you first get to this gym, especially as a new fighter, it's really easy to get starstruck and really easy to fade into the background and opt to not do a whole lot, right? But to see guys or to see people in the gym just really find their niche and just start grinding fabric that is that team here, it's pretty amazing to see.
And there are, I think what's exciting about Jackson Wink is, you got guys like Davion Franklin there, Christian Edwards is there, Aaron Pico's there, like Aaron Pico is like, we saw what he did last night. 25, 26 years old. He's not even close to like how good he could be. And I think that's just really exciting, and it just shows the testament of like all this young talent that's going through the pipeline. And you're in a weird spot because like you're not like a young greenhorn guy anymore. You're almost 30 years old, but you're not like, I wouldn't call you like a grizzled vet either. You're in kind of like that weird big brother kind of phase, and that's kind of a cool spot to be in. And do the younger people like the Amis or the people that are making their pro debut, like, are you the type of guy that they go to and talk to for kind of like advice, perspective? Like, how does your role in your gym as far as supporting your teammates goes?
I'm very openly supportive of anyone. Again, I'm not the type that's gonna like seek you out and
Right.
listen to me. The people that gravitate towards me, I help. When I'm in class, I help. And, if I'm there and coaches aren't, they'll have me run a class every now and then. So it's not like, I'm just not an over-the-top leadership type of guy. I kind of lead by example. I do the work. If people need help, I help in any way I can.
Juan, before I let you go, like, I'm really excited about this bout, and just like looking at your growth, looking at your evolution, and just how far you've come, all the crap that you went through, all the drama, the UFC, the first run at the UFC, it didn't pan out, but I'm glad it happened to you, because I don't know if you'd be as good today had it not been for that experience. Like, you've just kind of like went back to square one and built yourself all over again. You've built yourself back up, and it's exciting to see, man. I'm glad that you're at Jackson Wink. I'm glad that you're able to put this streak together. We're on a 3-fight streak right now, and it's about to be 4. And once we put this fight in the rearview mirror, is it one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm ready if they give me a call. Otherwise, Fury, send me somebody else. Is Aries still an option, or are you pretty much like locked down and comfortable with Fury, just with the way everything in the world's going right now?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with Fury right now. I've told that promoter, it's like, hey, if you can find somebody every month for me to fight, send them. I don't really, because I'm not taking damage in these fights.
Right.
Same thing with UFC. I've told Mick, from my first fight back, like, hey, I believe I'm ready. So I've never turned a fight down. Like, there's never been an instance where they've given me a name and I'm like, oh, no, not right now. Like, I'm always willing to accept the fight. My biggest thing is I've always usually needed 2 or 3 weeks at least to make weight.
Sure.
But, we're just keeping the weight down now so we can stay ready all the time. I'm never more like been a week away from making weight. It'll suck, but I'm not letting myself get over that 295. Like 30 pounds in a week is about my cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, I like to be around 285. It's been kind of harder to do that with. I had a couple little like nagging injuries from even before that. I was like, all right, maybe if I ease off on the workouts a little bit, those will heal up. So I've let them heal up, and we're really focused on building strength and power lately. So it's good to see that all that's coming to fruition.
Juan, I'm excited to see you fight. I know it's going to be happening soon. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make a prediction on your behalf. I don't think it gets out of the first. I think you're going to figure out a way to take this down to the ground, and I think he's going to get got like all the other ones get got. You're going to be on top. You're going to maintain top control, be a ground and pound, 3-4 minutes. That's my guess.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think is going to happen also.
Yes, sir. Juan, before I let you go, I want to give you the opportunity. I know you have a lot of sponsors and shout outs that you probably want to do. So if there's anything that you got going on that you're trying to sell or plug, why don't you go ahead and let your fans know?
Honestly, Haymaker Coffee, guys, click those links in my bio. Use those codes that I put up there. It's pretty cool product. It's all quality, and it helps me out a lot. Also, my fan art store, you go on there, just go to fanarts.com, type in Juan Adams.
And then you can get a crispy shirt like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from the fan art store. And I did. I bought some drip off you the other day. I got some underwear off of you.
Yeah.
So, and your code, that it works, by the way.
Oh yeah. So, Sheep has some pretty cool stuff too.
So yep. Juan, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to speaking with you again. And hopefully, the next time I do, you'll be in Bellator, you'll be in UFC, you'll be in PFL, you'll be in one of those. Making those heavyweight dollars, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Take care, and always a pleasure, Juan. Thank you.